Welcome to freakin Derry. It's safe to say the premiere episode of the It spinoff show knows how to get your attention. Its kickoff scene showcases the birth of, among other things, a series that's both delightfully horrifying and entirely unafraid to go where few others have gone before. And that was by design. It's meant to shock. You're supposed to say, "There's no way I just saw that." It immediately pushes any expectations you might have into the back seat and tells you, in no uncertain terms, that It's Welcome to Derry is going to deliver.
Go meet your family, sweetheart.
Our latest invitation to Derry comes from the same brother-sister writing, directing, producing team that brought us there twice already via the two highly successful It movies, Andy and Barbara Muschietti. Talking to Deadline, Andy broke down the reason for going full throttle in the opening minutes, saying, "We wanted to raise the bar higher in terms of shock value. It's about a self-imposed mandate of opening with an event that is shocking enough that you put the audience in a position where nothing is taken for granted, where nothing is safe in this world. You're immediately putting people on the edge of the seat." Hey, mission accomplished. It Chapter 1 opened with a scene that had a similar effect. Although our apologies to Georgie, that now feels practically PG after seeing what Welcome to Derry considers shocking. Chapter 2 upped the ante with a Pennywise-induced hate crime, and God have mercy on our souls, this still feels worse. Visually pushing the envelope only goes so far though. On its own, it's just gross. But coming to a head after a nerve-wracking buildup is what gives it the impact it needs.
Glue those legs together if you tried, I tell ya.
Reminds me of her mother.
The box of liver, the dissonant chatter, and increasingly macabre spelling game, it all conspires to put you on edge. Then, just when you think the scene's gone as far as it possibly can, you're proven utterly, woefully wrong. And we mean that's before the demon bat baby breaks a car window with someone's head. It's a pretty tight 9 minutes of TV, and the message is as in your face as it could possibly get. There's no escaping Derry. If this scene is any indicator of the level of tension we can expect for the rest of the series, it's clear that the Muschiettis aren't clowning around. But of course, this is far from the first time the Muschiettis have set out to shock their audiences.
In 2017, director Andy Muschietti reintroduced the world to Pennywise with It Chapter 1, fittingly released 27 years after the original. Bill Skarsgård aimed for the stars with his performance and horrified pretty much everyone.
Tasty, tasty, beautiful fear.
Before Andy Muschietti took on the role of director, It Chapter 1 was going to be directed by Cary Fukunaga, also known for directing True Detective and No Time to Die. The script went through a variety of drafts, but Fukunaga left the project after allegedly wanting to lean into the much darker aspects of the Stephen King novel.
Oh, gotcha! You filthy little children.
In an episode of Variety's Playback podcast, Skarsgård mentioned shooting a disturbing scene that was inevitably cut from the final product. He said, "There was a scene we shot that was a flashback from the 1600s, before Pennywise was Pennywise. The scene turned out really, really disturbing. And I'm not the clown. I look more like myself." Film fans immediately scoured the internet trying to track down the elusive scene, with Redditors eventually finding a 2016 draft of the screenplay from Gary Doberman. The script contained a missing flashback scene that takes place after the Losers Club fights Pennywise in the abandoned house, and before the scene featuring bully Henry Bowers playing with his father's gun.
Look at them now, boys. Ain't nothing like a little fear to make a paper man crumble.
The flashback shows a woman named Abigail holding a crying baby, one that Pennywise has set his sights on as his next meal. Abigail tries to plead with Pennywise to take her instead, but he replies saying that if he takes her, he will also take the baby, her husband, all of her other children, and will continue seeking out the flesh and souls of others until there is nothing left. On the other hand, if she sacrifices the baby, he will let her and the rest of her settlement live as an act of mercy. At the sight of one of her older children, Abigail makes the difficult decision to sacrifice her baby to Pennywise. She leaves the baby on the floor and walks away as Pennywise devours the infant, crunching on the baby's bones as Abigail quietly accepts her decision.
Yeah, okay, that's just about the most awful thing I've ever seen.
The scene obviously didn't make it to the final cut of the film. Nonetheless, It Chapter 2 does showcase images of Skarsgård's makeupless Pennywise, while the elderly Mrs. Kirsch tells a story about her circus-performing father during a chance meeting with the now-adult Beverly Marsh.
This isn't real enough for you, Billy? I'm not real enough for you.
The original Stephen King novel is a whopping 1,138 pages, so it goes without saying that a lot of information is left out. With over 5 hours in a total runtime between both It movies, it's understandable why the filmmakers decided to leave the more questionable scenes on the cutting room floor.
Finally, we all have something in common with James McAvoy, a fear of celestial clowns who are maybe also metaphors for generational trauma. When It and It Chapter 2 were released in 2017 and 2019, respectively, they invigorated the interest in Stephen King's cosmic, clown-based horror novel of the same name. If you'd already read It, you were probably rereading it in anticipation. And if you'd never touched the book in your life, you were almost certainly stepping into the world of Derry, Maine, to get down with the clown to see what all the fuss was about. Before McAvoy joined the Grown-Up Losers Club crew in the film sequel, he decided to reread the book in preparation for his role as the adult version of Bill, the de facto leader of the group who lost his younger brother Richie to the murderous Pennywise as a kid.
Hiya, Georgie. What a nice boat.
In an interview with Entertainment Weekly promoting the sequel, McAvoy admitted that cracking open the book and diving back into the world of It scared him far more as an adult than it did when he was a kid.
This isn't real enough for you, Billy. I'm not real enough for you.
He said in the interview, "When I reread It as an adult for the film, I actually had nightmares about Pennywise in a way that I never did as a child. Pennywise's unnerving grin might haunt the minds of children everywhere, but it's easy to see how the darker aspects of King's book could make the story feel far more unnerving to an adult. It trades in a whole suite of traumatic events, including childhood death, sexual assault, bullying, and hate crimes. While a clown monster might feel like an impossible enemy to a kid, the adults of It are also dealing with the weight of these larger issues, on top of admitting that growing up and moving away hasn't solved any of their problems, a pretty much universal lesson we all tend to learn at some point in our lives."
So I want to run towards something, not away.
In the same interview, McAvoy touched on some of the heavier themes in It and It Chapter 2, saying, "King's writing about a small American town. He's writing about death. He's writing about growing old, growing up, and the movie is very much about that. You could argue the first movie is as much Stand By Me and Goonies and all those things as it is a horror movie. The It sequel may have played around with King's source material, but McAvoy brings a world-weary, haunted feeling to his portrayal of Bill that readers of the book will know well. McAvoy himself describes the character as very lost and drifting through life as he continues to deal with the fallout from his younger brother's death and his missing trauma from fighting Pennywise.
We can't remember, can we?
One of the most touching and relatable aspects of McAvoy's role is how he carries his grief so close to the surface. When Bill was young, his brother's death became part of a larger conspiracy that motivated him to keep fighting, giving him and his friends a common enemy to defeat. With his memories of Pennywise faded, adult Bill is left with nothing more than senseless grief.
I hate you. I hate you.
The pain of losing a loved one might not be as acute as time wears on, but McAvoy's Bill has unlocked a horrible grown-up secret. The pain never really goes away, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no monster to fight or ritual to complete. Grief simply changes you in ways both big and small for the rest of your life. Bill's unrelenting grief is encapsulated in the Hall of Mirrors scene in It Chapter 2, where Bill chases a child through a funhouse in an attempt to save him from Pennywise. McAvoy elaborated in his interview with Entertainment Weekly, "We were missing a vital story beat for Bill, where he dealt with his guilt that he caused his brother's death. I said to Andy, what can we do? And literally in 50 minutes, he invented a whole new sequence. It was never in the script, and it isn't in the book. It's brilliant." McAvoy's Bill is a man facing a cacophony of fears. Beyond the clown, he has to grapple with his own grown-up nightmares that revolve around senseless violence and all-consuming grief. And through it all, he's trying to correct the childish mistakes of his past. Bill is doing anything he can to put an end to the violence, even if it feels like an impossible task. What could be scarier than that?
When It Chapter 2 debuted in theaters in 2019, it was a mixed bag for horror fans who had been waiting years to see one of Stephen King's most popular works get a 21st century update. The second chapter of director Andy Muschietti's take on the series saw the Losers Club all grown up, facing down Pennywise the clown monster in their hometown of Derry after 27 years apart. While the film garnered some criticism for being overstuffed and repetitive, it also won some audiences over thanks to a few keen casting choices. Among the best, Bill Hader as the adult version of Richie Tozier. Hader's take on Richie, the former foul-mouthed comedic relief element of the Losers Club, is undoubtedly one of the most enjoyable parts of It Chapter 2. The character was originally played by Finn Wolfhard in the first film and grows up to be a comedian in the sequel. Brings a relatable sense of humor to some genuinely horrific scenarios. His fear also feels very real, which makes sense because apparently one of Pennywise actor Bill Skarsgård's special skills deeply spooked Hader. Bill Skarsgård and Muschietti have gone on the record before about Skarsgård's impressive physical transformation into Pennywise. In an interview for Entertainment Tonight, the actor and the filmmaker talk about how Skarsgård can arrange his expressions in a terrifying way without the aid of CGI. He's able to arrange his lower lip in an unnerving curl, and can also make his eyes cross and uncross at will, giving the uncanny appearance that each is working independently of the other. The overall effect is one of typical human features that are just distorted enough to look wrong. Fittingly, it's the same type of off-putting exaggeration that makes clown makeup seem scary to some people. It was Skarsgård's knack for unsyncing his eyes that apparently sent Hader running for the hills when he first found out about it. Hader appeared on Conan during the film's press tour to talk about some hilarious set photos that went viral during the filming of It Chapter 2, after they were published by the Daily Mail nearly a full year before the movie hit theaters. In the pictures, Hader is in a park speaking with Skarsgård, who is decked out in full clown makeup and costume. The two seem to be sharing a laugh, but in the next photos, Hader is captured sprinting away from the actor. Although these shots appear to capture the actors in character shooting a scene, the actor told Conan O'Brien the true story behind them in an appearance in the comedian's show. According to Hader, Skarsgård can be really scary when cameras are rolling, but it was specifically that unnerving eyeball trick that really freaked him out.
How did they do that thing in the first movie where your eye kind of goes up? And I go, how is that a digital thing? And he went, oh, you mean this? And then he did it.
While he didn't confirm it, it's a safe bet that the set photos likely came while shooting the scene in Derry Park. After taunting Richie with a long-hidden childhood secret, Pennywise's eyes start to cross, but a second later, his whole face also seems to melt. Presumably, the actor was doing the eye trick in real life, but the look was enhanced after the fact for maximum freakiness. This scene matches up with the now memed photos of Hader running from Skarsgård, so it's a safe bet it's the one that had the actor rattled. Hader wasn't the only It castmate who found Skarsgård scary when coming face-to-face with him in full Pennywise garb. In a behind-the-scenes featurette for It Chapter 1, producers reveal that Muschietti kept the cast of child actors separate from the actor for as long as possible during filming, so he could capture their authentic reactions to his menacing look and performance on camera. Their fear is captured on camera partway through the film when the Losers Club gathers together to watch a photo slideshow that turns horrifying. Safe to say, the unconventional technique worked.